We'll go ahead and begin. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight for the 13th meeting of the Board of Directors during this calendar year 2023. We'll begin with an invocation by Brian Farrell with Victory United Pentecostal Church. I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity today, God, to gather here together, Lord, to just go over the needs of our city and its citizens. And I pray, God, for the officials, Lord, for wisdom and understanding, God, to answer all these needs, God. And we ask you to arm us with compassion and love for our fellow man, and God, that we can work together in harmony. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday.
Here.
Director Phyllis Beard.
Present.
Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith.
Here.
Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia. Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. This time we'll consider approval of the agenda. We have an item on the agenda, which is ordinance number O-23-20. I know a lot of people are here for that particular item on the agenda. We received, each of us have received numerous correspondence regarding some of the unintended consequences that would occur should such an ordinance be approved tonight. And those unintended consequences were not necessarily realized by us a week ago during the agenda meeting or some of the other inputs that we've had previously. So I'm really kind of looking for some guidance from board members regarding the possibility of pulling that from the agenda tonight to allow the city staff, elected officials, landlords, tenants to gather together to determine an approach that may limit the unintended consequences. There was a general belief that by moving forward there could be less housing for those who we're trying to protect, and that's not a road we need to be going down. But at the same time, we want to be able to provide for an ordinance that has what we want it to have, in that we don't have those unintended consequences. Furthermore, any ordinance that we were to approve tonight wouldn't truly go into it wouldn't have an impact on what we're trying to achieve until after the cooling season. So while we may leave the room feeling there's a moral victory, there's no positive impact for those residents. So I'm looking for some guidance from the balance of the board as to whether or not you would like to have that pulled from the agenda, form this group to try to bring back a ordinance that doesn't have those negative unintended consequences. Thoughts from the board? Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. I think if we were able to establish a committee that could not only help us come up with positive solutions to these problems moving forward, but also prevent any unrealized problems, it might be beneficial for our city, for the tenants, for the landlords, for everybody.
So would you make a motion to have that item removed from the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Well, before moving on, do we have kind of any gauge on what that timeline might look like? If we were to form a committee, when might they meet? How might we know when this might come back before the board?
Well, we can have a target date of, in the month of October or thereabouts. That may be pretty quick in and of itself, but it would give us August and September. And, if we have to go in a little deeper into October, we can do that. Is that a time frame that you feel is workable? Bill, Brian?
I think so. You know, forming the committee, I think, is the first thing we need to establish. And, you know, through our code, we have the ability to form an ad hoc committee through the city manager's office. And I would suggest that that be the vehicle that we use to form this committee. You know, and again, that can be some elected officials if you so choose, but certainly tenants, landlords, and all of those that have a vested interest in this particular item.
In our code department.
Certainly, all of staff.
So does that sound reasonable? So we have a motion. Do we have Director Beard?
Is this the discussion part?
There needs to be a second in order to have
Oh.
discussion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
We have a second. Thank you. Discussion, Director Beard?
Yes, I'm wondering if to put this off, if someone at the Greenbrier apartment complex has we put this off, the air conditioners will be pulled. Not for sure if they were pulled today, but if someone has a heat stroke or some kind of heat-related illness and they die, is the city responsible for that?
Oh, ma'am.
No.
Okay, well, I think we're dealing with extreme temperatures as we are dealing with extreme cases, so I just ask that you think about this, because this wasn't done to put any kind of landlord into any situation that was unforeseen. But again, this was an extreme case where tenants were very fearful of just existing.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, it sounds reasonable to me that we would want to offer the best solution possible to this problem. And Director Beard, I understand your concerns, but as I think Mayor McCabe mentioned, even if we didn't pull this and we acted on this tonight, it wouldn't correct the problem the next few days, which are going to be excessive heat-related days. It wouldn't have an impact that soon. So I think let's get it right. So I think the motion and the second are in order.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of amending the agenda by removing item 7, which is ordinance O-23-20, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
No.
Motion passes. Now we'll consider approval of the agenda as amended. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Dobb-Smith. All in favor of approving the agenda as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Agenda is approved as amended. This time we'll consider approval of the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting held on July 18th, 2023. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Director Beard, Director Dobb-Smith. Who made the second? Director Webb. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Recognition of guests. We have Mr. Cole McCaskill of the Greater Hot Springs Chamber of Commerce and Metro Partnership, and he'll deliver the Economic Development Report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Directors, good evening. Gary couldn't be here. I'm subbing in. He's out at the National Chamber of Commerce Conference right now. So I believe the last time he reported to you was at the agenda meeting on July 11th. So picking up on that date, on the 11th, I had a meeting with a new potential downtown development prospect. On the 12th, Gary had a meeting with the Arkansas Economic Development and Chamber Executives Group, who's planning the upcoming conference here in Hot Springs. Gary participated in the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Network Zoom call, and the state broadband connectivity map was discussed. We're doing some work to improve that. On the 14th, I had a call with a new business prospect, and also on the 14th, I had a call with a local manufacturer discussing some industrial real estate opportunities. On the 17th, I discussed the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategic Plan draft with the West Central Planning and Development District. Also on the 17th, Gary and I toured the progress being made on the demolition at the Jones Mill site. On the 18th, we were able to help Cobalt Aerospace honor a member of their team. Skip Anderson won the Charles Taylor Award. To qualify for that award, you need at least 50 years experience as an aircraft mechanic. He's only the second person from Hot Springs to win that award. Excited to help them do that. On the 20th, we met with South Central Connect, a new broadband company that's coming into this market. On the 24th, Gary met with Oaklawn, which is going to be the site of the State Economic Development Conference, and he's helping to plan that. On the 25th, we had a meeting with AEDC and a new manufacturing prospect. Also on the 25th, Gary Troutman and Gary Jackson participated in the Lake Hamilton School District Portrait of a Graduate workshop, trying to further align skills from industry with the skills that are being provided to local schools. Then on the 26th, we hosted a workforce advisory committee as we get closer to our goal for the SHRM grant project that I believe Gary has mentioned with you. Scott Deuce couldn't be here tonight. He had another engagement. He asked me to give just a very, very brief update on the Majestic project. We've had 2 new prospect leads since he last reported to y'all. Our group has met, our committee has met a couple times since the last time we met. We do have 2 upcoming meetings with out-of-state prospects next month that are scheduled, and then we followed up with another prospect that had visited from out of state, had a conversation with them. So that concludes my report, taking us through the month of July. Be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions, Mr. McCaskill? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Going to the Majestic Cole, that site, the first step, and you can correct me if I'm wrong at any point in time, but the first step as far as trying to market this property and get it turned over into some developers' hands to finally help us sell this property was to mail 12 packets out to 12 different potential developers. Those 12 never responded back to the packets that were mailed out. Have you done any follow-up there? Where is the Metro partnership as far as those first initial 12 developers go?
Well, so I would say initially we had to strategize and figure out what our game plan was, and we put together the marketing piece, which I believe you have all seen. We came up with kind of a dream team list of prospects, and that's the 12 that you're referring to, and we sent it out, and we didn't hear anything back, and I believe Scott addressed some of those issues at a previous meeting. We have had quite a few prospects reach out during that time and ongoing. In fact, I've had 2 calls today, about the project, but there has been follow-up on those initial 12, but still nobody on the line.
And okay, you mentioned 2 new prospects, so would that mean that it's a total of 4 that are currently looking at the site for potential development?
I could, if you call me tomorrow, I could have a hard number for you, but right now I can say we have a handful of prospects. I have a list back at the office. I don't know exactly how many are on there. More than 5, less than 10, I would say.
Okay.
Those are entities that we're working with that have expressed interest in the site.
Since the article came out that included Rick Wilson's proposal to kind of, I guess, pull back on the size of the amphitheater, have y'all done any visiting with him over this project?
We did send him a packet.
Okay. Has that gone anywhere?
Not to my knowledge. We have a great relationship with Rick. We worked with him extensively on that amphitheater project back in 2021, I guess that was. We really felt like a member, of his team. We had tons of meetings. We had meetings with lots of stakeholders. We sent the Walton Art market assessment out to all of our marketing channels, in fact.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a correction, Director Webb, there was no new proposal from Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. I may have worded that wrong, but it's my understanding that at least what might be in the discussion of what he might propose with the property now will be a scaled-back version of the amphitheater. Is that correct?
All I know is what, we read in the newspaper article. I haven't heard back from Mr. Wilson.
Okay.
Any further questions of Cole? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This time we'll hear from our city manager, Mr. Bill Burrow, for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. I want to start off with some accolades to Animal Services. The City of Hot Springs Animal Services had $5 rabies drives on July the 22nd. It was a huge success. Animal control officers, Hot Springs Police Department, certified volunteers, Dr. Brian Peters with Lake Hamilton and Hot Springs Animal Hospitals. They distributed more than 215 rabies vaccinations that day, 40 microchips, 10 yearly city licenses, and 24 lifetime city licenses. There'll be another event coming up later on this year, but that was a huge success, and we appreciate everyone that was involved in that. They're also hosting another event coming up on August the 12th from 9 to 1 at the animal shelter at 319 Davidson Drive. They're going to have vendors there, food trucks, dog cat adoptions, $20 microchipping, along with some other great deals. So anybody interested in that, you want to show up from 9 to 1 Saturday, August the 12th. We had several city employees from Hot Springs Fire, Hot Springs Memorial Field Airport, Human Resources, Public Information, and Public Works departments, including Stormwater and Street. They all, and other individuals from various state and federal government agencies, they all received certifications from the Arkansas Division of Emergency Management, ADAM, in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security for independent study courses related to incident management. That's training that anyone that's going to be involved in any kind of a mass incident or emergency within the city, we have to have that training, and just really proud that we had that many go through that course. It's there are 2 in-person courses, but to be eligible, you also have to go through about 4 online courses to be able to receive that NIMS notification. So really appreciate those that have worked to get that certification. Solid waste, we talked about clean sweep at the last meeting that we had. Solid waste collected 14.4 tons of miscellaneous debris, about 4.2 tons of brush. Between July 10th and the 28th, they had 141 stops in that Operation Clean Sweep. There were about 500 addresses involved in that service area. Neighborhood services inspectors, they delivered packets to all 500 addresses prior to that. They left notices on 141 locations during that time. At this time, there's just under half, maybe 62 of the 141 addresses were found to be in compliance. They're going to re-inspect the others next week. But that was another big change in improving the appearance of that particular neighborhood through Operation Clean Sweep. A lot of hard work involved in that, and we appreciate those employees as well. I want to talk about the Overdose Response Conference coming up. The Hot Springs Police Department is hosting its 2nd annual Overdose Response Conference, formerly known as the Police and Peers Conference. It'll be August 1st and 2nd. Actually started today and goes through tomorrow at the Hotel Hot Springs. Speakers have come from all over Arkansas to address how law enforcement and recovery professionals are working together to fight the opioid epidemic to save lives. We've had great success with our peer recovery specialists, going back to Sean Willits and now with Carrie Montgomery. That's a program that I think is a model for throughout the rest of the state. So we're very proud of the work that they have done. And then finally, I want to say congratulations to Officers Axel Rios, Officer Georgian Hadley, Officer Larry Fowler, Officer Daniel Dankert for graduating on Friday, July the 28th, this past Friday, from the Arkansas Law Enforcement Training basic class. We're pleased to have new officers going through that training coming into the Hot Springs Police Department. These individuals will start their field training now and should be on the street here in the next several weeks. So glad to have them, and just congratulate them on their graduation. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Very good. This time we'll hear from individual directors regarding announcements of upcoming events. Director Beard.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We have the Community Empowerment Network of Hot Springs. They're doing a back-to-school supplies tour event, and that's 5 to 7:30 p.m. on August 9th and August 10th. That's at Family Park, 215 Family Park Road. And then there's the Hot Springs School District Back-to-School Bash. It's on August 11th from 6 to 8 p.m., and it's at the Tommy J. Holt Memorial Field at Joe Reese Stadium. There will be free school supplies, free food, and a family-friendly movie night. And then we also have the 9th Annual Hot Springs Community Resource Fair. This is on August 12th, and it's 4 to 6 p.m., and it will be at the Hot Springs Farmers Market, 121 Orange Street, District 2, by the way, in conjunction with Bearbrook Coleman Back to School Bash and Samaritan's Feet Ministry, presented by the Difference Makers of Hot Springs, Martin Luther King Jr. Hot Springs Committee, and Samaritan's Feet Ministry. They will have a Living Legends Award presentation, vendor resource booth, food and refreshments, including snow cones, school supplies, tennis shoes, door prizes, music entertainment, and fun for the entire family.
Very good, thank you. Any additional Director Holliday?
Thank you. One thing that I thought our city manager might mention, but it kind of dovetails with our earlier conversation, we do have a cooling shelter this week for individuals who need to get out of the heat at the Salvation Army, and there are still spots for volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering and helping out, the number is 501-623-1641. I'll be there on Friday, and several people that we know in the community will be volunteering. So please, if you have some time and want to help out, and I know they were asking for donations of individually wrapped snacks and a handful of other things to help out down there at the Salvation Army. So kudos to that group who always steps up when we need warming and cooling shelters. And another thing that's happening this week that I don't think a lot of people in our community know too much about, it's the annual SNAP Challenge. This is the first time I've taken part in it, but it's where individuals are challenged to eat at the same amount of food that you would get if you were on SNAP benefits, which is the National Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which for the state of Arkansas is $4 a day. And it is something to go to the grocery store with literally $20 and try to figure out how to make it to the end of the week is not fun. But it is something that when this comes up next year, I'll definitely remind everybody here, anyone who wants to take part, because it is only a week, and so many people in our community, this is their daily lives 12 months out of the year. But that SNAP Challenge is national. It's been going on for about 10 years, and it adds a lot of awareness to food insecurity in our community. So the Arkansas Hunger Relief Alliance is sponsoring that in the state of Arkansas. So thanks to them and their outreach efforts. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional announcements? We're going to take a step backwards here and go back to the city manager's report and call on Karen Scott for the quarterly financial report. It's supposed to be part of Bill's report. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, board members. As of June 30th, 2023, the general fund revenues over expenditures was $12.97 million. Compared to last year of $2.7 million, that's an increase of $10.2 million. However, I want to remind you that is a direct result of that transfer of those ARPA funds. The fund balance, in the general fund, the reserve fund balance is a little over $9 million, and unreserved is $13.9 million. In the street fund, the year-to-date revenues over expenditures is $4,089,000. Last year, that was $166,000, which makes a positive difference of $3.9 million, and that is a direct result of the new Pave It Forward sales tax funds. We're struggling, as you know, to get it spent. We have the paving program underway now. The fund balance in the street fund, the restricted is 1.7 million, unrestricted is 9 million. Again, a result of revenue that is yet to be spent. The water fund year-to-date revenues over expenditures is 702,000. The fund balance is 78 million. The wastewater fund revenues over expenditures is 434,000 with a fund balance of 53 million. Some of the highlights that kind of result in the general fund revenues are sales taxes up 6.51% over last year. Oaklawn revenue is up 4.9% over last year. Business license fees are up about 30% or 292,000. And that includes the STR fees as well. The franchise fees revenue is up 829,000, which is for the most part a result of Entergy's payments. Last year we had only received 2 payments at this time. This year we've received 3 payments, and they're actually paying more per quarter than they did last year. The community development revenues are up slightly, and interest revenue continues to be higher this year than last year. The expenditures across the funds are flat with a few exceptions, and we will be bringing to you, if we have any mid-year budget amendments that are needed, the department heads are reviewing their year-to-date expenditures, and Bill and I will be reviewing any that might need your attention for a mid-year budget. I suspect it's going to be significantly less than last year.
Can you restate the number on the business license?
Yes, sorry.
Because, you know, we have, what,
It's
400 or
up.
500 business STRs, and they're not prohibitively expensive.
It's
Right.
up 30%, which equates to 292,000.
I know, that's a whole lot of extra business beyond, for even when you pull the STR out, that's a huge number. It's good for Hot Springs.
Just probably also impacting the increase in sales tax.
Yeah. All right. Any questions of Karen?
Mayor, I will say that report, as well as any of the identified amendments that we may need to make, will be in your packet for Saturday's discussion when we have our retreat/work session. A couple that I'm aware of now that we're probably going to have to look at is all the chemicals that we use, whether that's at the water or the wastewater plant. Our chemicals have gone up 40% this year and went up about 20%, I think, last year. So we'll probably have to make a slight adjustment in our chemical lines, but moving forward, I don't think we'll have a whole lot of others.
Very good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
This time we'll review we'll take action on the consent agenda. These are items of a routine nature that do not merit individual discussion. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Director Dobbs-Smith, seconded by Director Trustee. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. We have 2 items under new business that will be considered tonight. The first is ordinance O-23-18, and I'll begin with asking to entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to read by title only. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-23-18, an ordinance approving the purchase of certain Kohler emergency generator from Nixon Power Services LLC, formerly RP Power LLC, for the Gulf Basin Pump Station pursuant to Arkansas Code Annotated, Section 1458-104. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Holliday, Director Dobbs-Smith, and our staff report will be provided by Todd Pillar, Engineering Project Manager. Welcome.
Thank you and good evening. The generator and automatic transfer switch that comes with it was designed by our electrical engineers, Brown Engineers and Christian Engineers, and the size was 1250 kW. To give you respect, our new water plant we're building is a 1750 KW. And the Davidson Drive, all the improvements we're going to do out there as part of the CAO with Davidson Drive is a 2,500 KW. Staff wants to order this because delivery time is 66 weeks. And with the, we just bid the construction portion of the contract for Gulfville Pump Station. It's a 14-month schedule. So if this arrives in October of 2024, it'll be really good. This will be an owner-furnished, contractor-installed generator and ATS. And if the generator and ATS are ready before the contractor is ready to install it, they'll store it for us like they are the water barn or the water plant on off Amity Road right now. They'll store it in its factory in Wisconsin. Nixon Power Services, their purchase order will be $697,810, and that includes freight and startup, but it does not include any sales tax. So the final purchase order amount with the Arkansas state sales tax will be $764,102. And we will purchase this using the 2020 wastewater bond funds.
Any questions of Mr. Pillar? Very good. Anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst board members? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action of the evening is to consider ordinance O-23-19. And I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules to read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by
Second.
Director Holliday. All in favor of the motion and second to suspend the rules to read by title only signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-23-19, an ordinance approving M1 light manufacturing zoning on 2.34 unplatted acres known as 222 Davidson Drive, amending the future land use plan map to designate the area industrial and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Trustee, seconded by Director Webb, was it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Staff report will be provided by Kathy Selman, Director of Planning and Development. Welcome.
Thank you. Karen Lloyd is the applicant and property owner. The property has a future land use plan map classification of suburban residential, and it's located in Board of Directors District Number 4. Approximately 2.34 acres of R1 unplatted land. It has 180 feet of frontage on Davidson Drive. This would change the assigned R1 zoning to the requested M1 zone. Surrounding the property, the zoning on the north is M1, light manufacturing. To the east, we have unzoned, unincorporated Garland County. To the south, M1, light manufacturing, and to the west, R1, rural residential. The surrounding land use on the north is storage units. To the east, Davidson Drive and a single-family residence. To the south, City of Hot Springs Parks Maintenance, compost facilities, animal services, and wastewater treatment. And to the west, we have undeveloped timberland. Hot Springs Code, Section 16-211E1 requires Planning Commission to make a specific finding as to 6 standards that it lists. The Planning Commission duly advertised their July 13th, 2023 meeting, and after calling for testimony and considering the record, by their 9-0 vote, Planning Commission accepted the staff report findings and recommended that the Board of Directors adopt an ordinance amending the zoning map for the property at 222 Davidson Drive from R1 to M1 and amending the future land use plan map to industrial because, as required by the code, the requested zone change does demonstrate compatibility with surrounding development and zoning. And that concludes the presentation.
Any questions of Ms. Selvin? Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. Kathy, I know if this zoning is approved, there are a number of uses that are permissible under M1. Do we know what this is planning to be? If you said that, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yes, there are a number of uses that could be allowed by this. The applicant has indicated a desire to build a mini storage facility similar to the one that is directly adjacent.
Okay. And just FYI, this is in District 6 instead of 4.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
You had
I mean, I'm
me
glad
almost
it's
checking,
there,
you know, I'm
but-
like, how did Dudley get way over there?
I looked
know.
it up this afternoon, and I just,
Started to make a move.
It is
It
in
is in 6.
Rock,
District
paper,
6.
scissor over there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
We have anyone sign up?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Holliday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. This completes the business items to come before the board. Any board commentary, items for discussion?
If I may.
Director- Yes.
Real quick. I did not editorialize earlier on our removal of that item, but I did want to maybe add a little information to the situation. This is a concern that has come up. This is with respect to the change in maintenance code. These types of issues have come up, oh my gosh, well before I've been here. I've had conversations, especially because in District 1, we do have some absentee landlords. We have people who don't take great care of their property, others who are great and wonderful. One of the things that I know personally I was looking forward to in recent legislative sessions was that our state legislature would change state law so that we do have a Bill of Rights for renters and minimum habitability standards. Unfortunately, our legislature has not voted to pass that, and so that's why it's coming to us here in the city. I think one of the things we need to be really mindful of when we move forward is to make sure that it's something that definitely does all of the things we need it to do. I think that's why it's pulled. There are some unintended consequences, but also I'm looking forward to an ordinance coming back that may actually have more breadth to it, but also make sure that we are protecting the people who live in our community. We're protecting people who own property, who rent property, and do it in a way where it's an ordinance that is fair and legal and ethical and is something that hopefully will not be challenged by the state in the future. Unfortunately, and this is my little editorial moment, a lot of our legislative time has been spent at the state removing municipal control. And that happened. We saw many of our city directors testified on behalf of maintaining control over short-term rentals in municipalities. This is something I have a feeling if we pass will become visible on a state level more so than perhaps it has been done before. But I do have a lot of faith in our staff. Definitely when we get these landlords at the table that will have something on paper that we can all get behind that does exactly what it is that we need it to do. So I do want to make sure that the people in the audience, the people at home, or anyone who hears about this understands that by no means by taking this off the table, at least for myself, was it any indication that this isn't something that's important. And it's not something that's just going to be a can that's kicked down the road. It's something we want to do right, and we want to do it the first time right. So I just wanted to make sure that my opinions around that were heard. So thank you.
Director Holliday, just in defense of Representative McGrew, was here earlier in our delegation. The General Assembly in 2021 did pass an implied residential quality standards. However, it's a civil remedy. It's not something that the city can enforce, and it certainly did not deal with the issue of cooling.
Correct. Thank you.
Any other director's items for discussion? Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just kind of want to add to what Director Holliday was stating, in that as we move forward and we start looking at building a committee to help us revise this ordinance so that it does meet the needs of the tenants here in our communities and in our neighborhoods, but then also doesn't infringe upon too many of the landlords, so that the solution actually adds to more problems. Do we have any idea as to what the collaborative makeup of this committee will look like? If we don't, I want to suggest that there be some tenants at the table of this committee, maybe even a tenant from Greenbrier. Would anybody have any objection to that? And
Well, our city manager will form the group, and it will be the stakeholders from all directions will be involved.
I trust our city staff will form a great committee, but I just want to make that plug too, that as we're looking at who's going to comprise of this collaborative committee, that we do incorporate perspectives from all ends of this issue, not to just include landlords, but tenants as well, and even developers as we move forward, and maybe elected officials too. That's all I had. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other comments? Director Beard?
Might as well. Does anyone have anything to add about the crisis of not having any air conditioning during the month of August? The hottest summer on record. Does anyone have anything? I just wanted to give anyone an opportunity to respond.
Any further items for discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Director Trustee,
Second.
second Director Webb. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.